84. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
I love America. I love the Constitution. I love the First Amendment. I want to carry and all us. I love property. And let me tell you something. If you care about your country, I'll read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian Economic School, motherfuckers.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red.
As of last week, $19.2 trillion pouring into the United States right now from all over the world. That's the investments being made, and the record was 3. In 4 years, the last administration did much less than 1, and we did 19.2 in 12 months.
The problem is when you're trapped like a prisoner in these areas of feudalism called Democrat states, you don't understand the economic boom, the opening of private businesses, the different quality of life you've been cultivated to the Soviet states, known as Democrat states. My next guest knows this all too well, as he watched his beloved, and mine, California collapse into an open-air toilet under Democrat leadership in the record loss in the shortest period of time in history. He's my California connection who may or may not be in Texas as we speak. Judd Dunning, you handsome son of a gun, how are you?
I'm good. And I just want to say thank you to Newsom. Thank you to Garcetti. Thank you to Bass for destroying the most beautiful state in the union. So I'm
it really
with
is.
You, buddy.
It really is. And, you know, it's fascinating because I come back a lot in the summer because I have extended family. I have my in-laws, just the best people in the world. And I am back and forth to Illinois, Stan, from Florida. And the beauty of it is that I realize how different it is outside of the states of feudalism. But when you are inundated with the propaganda, with the climate of collapse and failure, the murder, the robberies, the rapes, you know, it becomes you become disenfranchised, and that's the game, right? To demoralize and disenfranchise, where you think, what are you going to do? It sucks everywhere, and that's the beauty and the sin of what happens in the collapse of these Soviet states called Democrat states. I really feel there has to be a move now to financially separate, if not altogether break apart the country from the Democrat cancer of communism, because it will kill us. They're broke and they pretend they're not, and we continue to bail them out. It has to come to an end, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're on the way, buddy. Trump is making America honest again, right? I mean, that's the thing. We saw the COVID drop. We saw the drop on the fraud council across the United States. They're going after people. They're coming out with, right now, they're coming out with things about Clintons. They're coming out with the Obamas. They're trying to bring back justice. I think the playbook is make America disgusted again before the midterms, right? I mean, there's so many elements that we're starting to expose, but the socialist economists are winning because we're tired. People have been tired since COVID. They've been disengaged. Horrible things can happen now, but people are like shrug their shoulders, right? There used to be outrage, but look how much outrage they're pouring on the streets, and there's a lot of accountability that's happening. The way they just stole the elections in California was crazy, man. We didn't vote to raise our taxes.
It was amazing to watch that. Amazing. Right in the light of day, they just stole the fracking elections.
Yeah, and what do? We do? We shrug our shoulders, you know, go to the movies, whatever. What's next? I mean, that's what's insidious. It's like, how do we get through this patch? But I tell you, Trump did it, man. He did it so well. He brought up communism again. He went right. What is the purpose of socialism? To get you to communism. Like, he made it the enemy. Somebody texted me. They said, "Oh, are we done with trans Muslims now?"
Apparently, yeah. No, like, they're just located in one area, which is good. Just get them to New York and Chicago. That'll be fine. You know what's interesting though? I looked into this over the weekend. it's fascinating to realize. I had driven around Michigan, and Michigan is an amazing state where it's about 80 to 90% decent people with high caliber, high character, and it's the 10% that destroys the whole arena and
right.
will give you a Democrat governor. But if you notice, it's still a swing state, so it has some hope, some optimism. Whereas Illinois and California, I don't really think it does. But when you look and you really crack open this entitlement scheme, you understand when you include the schools, public education, you're just under $4 trillion every year in the budget for all the welfare, all the bull dung, from the rent to the food to everything else, and the ghetto lottery known as disability, and the public schools. So more than half of the budget of this country goes to already existing communism in the country. And if you look at where that's distributed, it doesn't have anything to do with race or anything else. Where it's distributed and where it's concentrated is very interesting. It's almost exactly the same counties that always vote for the Democrat thief in national office for president. It's almost identical to the counties that Kamala Harris and that Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden won. So what I think is that's where the answer is, to change the currencies of these Democrat welfare areas, to stop running the cover of our dollar so that we can break away and succeed and make them green stamps, red stamps, whatever. Make them the commie currency versus the American dollar, and we'll really fix this ill and ultimately allow them to just eat their own tail like a snake who pretends to be a hunter and eventually just hopefully go away. So I think that's the way to do it, because it's no coincidence that these are the areas that always, they say vote, but always capitulate and let elections be stolen. It's the welfare roach areas, and we have to separate from them. I'm wondering if you ever looked at it through the eye of where over 50% of our American budget goes to welfare scumbag areas.
Oh, yeah, and definitely. It's very interesting yesterday with the head of the HUD, right? He actually blamed Biden, right? He said there's been like $50 billion in graft in the HUD department on their loans, creating a 30% boom in housing prices that were passed on to Americans. So they literally said because of the illegal immigrants that flooded in and the amount of them that flooded into HUD and the way they inflated that Biden inflated housing by 30% and created the homeless crisis. I mean, it's a perfect example. It's like the graft is so deep. It's so consequential. I don't know if we could ever separate. Maybe they should be on Bitcoin and we can be on gold.
Well,
but I don't know how to economically separate that, though, Shaun. But I do think the key element, once again, is justice and honesty and disgust toward the corruption. And I think Americans are starting to freak out about how much their money goes to theft.
Well, notice, though, not one Democrat is. I mean, not one elected Democrat congressman or senator, not one, is upset about the billions of dollars stolen. In fact, they're running cover for it. Minnesota is changing the way you can audit it. California has the no Nick Shirley law. And by the way, that to me is great. Is it Becerra, whose wife is also a state scumbag who created the no Nick Shirley Act? So let's not talk about the theft. So this is what we have to recognize. A third of this country has character of a thief. Let's call them Democrats for the sake of the argument. So Democrats and the character of a Democrat, they prefer the theft. In fact, what they are is what they are in their own policies, envious and greedy. They simply want in on it. Have you heard one elected Democrat say that we got to find where this money went? This money being stolen is outrageous. And you know when I noticed this, Judd? It was in around 2007 or 8 that at that time they said $100 billion had been stolen annually from Medicare. Now think about what the dollar was in 2008 and inflationally adjusted. So you got about a 35 to 45 to 50% inflation rate. So that means $100 billion is really closer to $200 billion in today's dollars. And that's a fascinating reality of how we just got used to that. And then you look at Joe Biden when you said about the 30%. Well, that's everything. Joe Biden in 4 years added $9 trillion. It took this country 236 years to have a $9 trillion debt. That fracking moron who had soiled his pants did it in 4. Barack Obama did it in 8. And if you look at why I say to you that this entitlement scheme is over 50%, it's on autopilot. Trump couldn't stop it if we got elected tomorrow, me and you. And, of course, I'd be the president. You'd be my VP. We couldn't stop it.
Thank you.
Right?
I'm in. I wrote an article, Only Consequential Presidents Get Shot At, Trump and the Restoration of American Power in May. And I tell you, man, if you look at what he's actually doing for the economy behind the scene, who he's calling out, the amount of infrastructure that's coming, what's going on in the markets, inflation backed out of gas, jobs, everything's going really well in the background, but you never hear about the positives because the corporatized, metastasized, progressive, aggressive liberal media, right? I agree. And, it's interesting, right, while you're talking about this, I mean, our governor, 23 federal accounts of bank fraud, wire fraud, tax fraud, PPP loans, $1 million of overexpenses. I mean, it's right in our face. And what does he do? He comes out and says he's being targeted, and nobody's questioning the narrative in California. Because that's how deep that's how deep people are hypnotized, Shawnee.
Well, it's the Chicago way, right? The Chicago way is you set up the old lady. You set up your simpleton nephew with the cork on his fork at Thanksgiving so he doesn't poke his own eye out. You set up every scumbag that shares your bloodline who you know is too stupid to get a job on his own. But when the wife was the recipient of $7 million, $6 million in NGO fraud and kickbacks, I thought that dog would hunt. But California has that character cancer where they're not upset at the swindle. They're like the Chicago Democrat. How can I get in on that ghost job? I mean, that's the problem, right? So how do you defeat the character of a gypsy thief posing as an American?
Well, you got a poster of Nancy Pelosi with $245 million under it, buddy. Public servant of the year. Right?
I love that. How about the drunk husband?
So
the drunk
bad.
husband banging off cars like he's at Kittyland and he's playing bumper cars, and he'll get away with it. It's amazing. I want to know, was he wearing an ascot and pants, or just an ascot and no pants in this accident? Did you find out for me?
Well, when not naked with his gay lover being hit with a hammer, he prefers to drink and drive. I mean, the guy is problematic, man. But back to your theme, though. I really think, like, what is the solution that we always talk about? And you continue to bellow the deconstructive nature of leftists on the nation. And it's interesting, even on our day, right? 250 years. Like, people were not showing up to sing. People were not coming. There's a gap between, 40% of America is caught up in this conversation. What do we do about it? And I think, look, if you go back in history, we've always been polarized. There's been periods where we've hated each other. Okay, that's fine. But you're hitting the nail on the hammer the way that you talk, Shaun. And when we do that, we activate people to get a little bolder and think a little harder. But we've had Trump in there who said, what great thing on the holiday, right? Remember, man, our founding fathers, Sons of Liberty, these were rough and tumble Scottish, Irish people that came from the pubs who were, raising hell. They were tough people, challenging everything around them, willing to die. That was only 250 years ago. And now, we don't want to get too spicy on Facebook.
Well, it's funny. It's born out of a tavern. This whole country is born out of the Green Dragon Tavern. And if you look at who actually fought, it's only a third. This is always the thing, Judd. I understood this years ago when I was a kid. I'll never forget, I had very smart relatives. And my uncle told me, listen to me, are you aware of what's going on? Only a third of anybody does anything. And it's the same thing at the founding of the country. That's how I remembered it. At a founding of the country, 1/3 was loyal to that fat-ass blue blood king. He was the version of an American Democrat. He was just going to cut some scumbags in on ghost jobs, and they were willing to support his fat ass. Just like now in, Illinois and Pritzker. Same thing.
And not pay attention.
Right?
Yep, exactly.
Another third, they're like our city dwellers. They're too stupid to know the difference. Couldn't read. Functioning illiterates. And then there's the third that said, I'm not taking this anymore. That's us. And I am telling you, Judd, you could see in these urban areas, this city. Look at New York. When you see that guy from Sergey Brin from Google, he sold 5,900 properties at 6 cents on the dollar. Now, here's a son of a gun. Do you know, that's basically like, is there any moron out there that will pay anything for what I got? Yeah, we got one idiot in the back. He said he'll pay 6 cents. Sell it. You know how much you have to hate the investment to sell at 6 cents on the dollar? You're better off burning it. And that's the indication. Each unit in Manhattan, in the real estate business, I kind of broke it down on median sales and what the values are.
Wow.
Since Mamdani was elected, when he used to live with his parents before, since he's been elected, $182,000 a unit in price equity collapse. That's Never happened outside of a depression. That did not happen in 2008 in Manhattan. Think about that. Chicago's the same thing. We've got that building where Ken Griffin sold it, 131 Dearborn. He sold it when you inflationally adjust the money. He lost over 100% of his money when you added the taxes he paid. And he just get rid of it. They're selling office buildings at 70, 80, 90% losses from 7 years ago, 6 years ago. 10 years ago, everything's in the 90s. So this has never happened before. I'm telling you, Judd, the powers that be, these simpleton morons calling themselves Democrats, they know their support is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and more concentrated. Now it's time for Trump and the powers that be to say, now we're going to add another 50 states. Why are we only 50? Let's be 100 and break all the counties apart. I want 100 states now.
Yes.
We double the congressmen. We'll double the Senate. Now we really jam things up. What do you think?
I love it. I'm really overwhelmed by the fact that the idea of communism underneath as an oppositional construct is there. I mean, Mao was 45 million people dead. You know, the Soviet Union was 20 to, they say, as high as 50 million. I mean, Cambodia was millions of people. What is attractive about the socialistic communistic model? There's nothing attractive. What is attractive about Islam in America? I don't know what New York is doing.
It's a psychological flaw.
If you don't have anything, you have to oppose Trump. You don't have a platform, you have to oppose Trump.
Judd, it's a psychological flaw, and that's the problem with humanity. There's a certain security in slavery. Really, think about this. Think about all these stories you hear about slaves. All the stories about slaves. And every one of the stories, how's it work? You got 70, 80 people, right? They're the slaves. And you got 5 people in charge. Well, why don't the 70 and 80 get together, sharpen some knives, and go shivving? What are you doing? Because there's a certain comfort in slavery. And if you look at all those countries you talk about, look at
the nanny state and the victim state. Look at
Iran.
They're both the same, right?
Look at Iran. Same thing. There's a certain comfort. And every time there's a little uprising, you just crush it from time to time. But for the most part, they'll stay nice and calm. Look at Chicago. Look at New York. Look at what you just said about California. You stole the election. What do we do? Well, there's a certain comfort in slavery. And if you're rich, what the hell do you care? You're going to move anyway. So it's a really interesting psychological self-loathingness that allows people to be American Democrats or European communists. Same thing. You have to hate yourself, and you have to hate the idea that somebody's better than you, and you found the perfect vehicle to steal their assets, and you don't even have to do it. I think it's brilliant. It's a philosophy of a coward and a thief, but more importantly, somebody who hates themselves and never can live up to their own expectations. It's a psychological flaw to be an American Democrat or a European communist. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, what 250 was about in face of that was, what was the miracle of America? It was sovereignty, right? It was God, people, not God kings, right? I mean, we became, in America, anybody can be anything. If we can get people back to that, and remember, because we had freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, freedom to bear arms, that's powerful, man. But people are scared to jump out, and they're scared because of things like J6. They're scared because of the weaponization of government throughout. We've been canceling people. Think about the last 20 years, man. We've been canceling people and telling them that if you test government, you're going to get crushed.
Yeah,
but think about it. Who feels like they can go up against the government now?
Well, I always do, but this is why it's the most exciting time to be alive. I really do, and I'll tell you why. Because number one, I'm not afraid of anything. I've been broke my whole life. I've been rich. I've been broke. Amen. I'll be rich and broke. Who gives a rip? It's only dirty paper. But the one thing no one can ever take from you is the fact that you succeeded. You can't take that away. All my life and all your life and the people who listen, what do you really live on when you're honest? You live on 50% of what you make. These rat pigs take it from you, and they call it income tax. And you just take. Are you kidding me? We the decent, advocate for our own money. Well, the scum calling themselves Democrat, they advocate to take everybody's money. I'm not afraid of anybody knowing that. I'll tell that to anybody. Fat trust fund baby Pritzker or some fake Indian Elizabeth Warren with the high cheekbones like Chuck Connors. I don't give a rip. But the reason is I'm a Floridian, and my state protects me. That's the difference. My state is an American state. I visit where I'm from. That's a communist pig state. That's Illinois. So there's an interest. That's what's interesting. The flight among foot and the security in good states. And those, to go back to our first conversation, those are the ones that are reaping the rewards of outside investment of $19.2 trillion. 11 states,
Yep.
over 70% of the GDP. And all the rat Democrat states, who's actually moving to them? More welfare roaches. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, you know what we don't need, though? We don't need to live a smaller American life to balance the budget. We just have to eliminate graft and theft, right? I mean, with $39 trillion of debt that's burning right now to $1 trillion a year, if we lower the interest rates, if there wasn't Trump resistance syndrome in the Fed because they're trying to prove something, they raise the inflationary rate 1% because inflation's already gone up 1%. We lower the rates 2%. We're almost breaking even. And then we hit graft. America's on its way to be balanced, baby. And we're not even going to have to go into heavy austerity if we simply eliminate the Democrat plague of theft and graft. Now, of course, the right's involved as well. We're not myopic, stupid people. But it is
Mitch
more
McConnell.
endemic on the left.
Oh, yeah. Well, Mitch McConnell, who I think had died last month, and nobody's going to tell me any different until you produce the body like the Ayatollah's son. However, the beauty of it is
You're on fire today, buddy. You're on fire.
The fix is there because they've been running the fraud, right? And you can break it the way they implemented it. And I've always said, Social Security, you start there. It's a con job anyway. There's no I don't want it. Give me my money back. You don't owe me anything. I'm only a handful of years from collecting it. So are you, and so is everybody else. Get everybody to say that. I'll go from 20 years old all the way up to the day before they collect. I don't want the payout. Give me my money back. I don't want your deal. And that's how you break it. And Trump did that with the account he set up for the kids. Those kids aren't going to want it. They're going to be millionaires by the time they're 30. It's beautiful.
I love that. That was the smartest move. Compounding interest is the American. It's an international miracle.
Yeah.
If all of us look back,
that's why Islam doesn't have it.
A week, man.
That's why Islam hates compound interest. Then you don't need that phony pedophile they base the whole thing on. I think it's big.
That's right. It's not halal. It's not halal. You're right.
I got your halal right here. So anyway, this is why we could start the fight. I love the fact you're doing it. And now you've got the new book coming out. Now, the old book was 13 Reasons Why Not to Be a Democrat Communist You Call Liberal. However, I knew what you meant. The new book is 13 Reasons to Love America. When does that baby come out?
Yeah, I'm about halfway through this book. It was interesting, man. Perfect. It's a perfect example of what we're talking about. Is like my publisher's like, let's do it. And like, oh, it's too positive. So I'm going to get a little meaner. I'm going to get a little more Shaun Thompson in it.
Oh, you let me talk to that son of a gun. You just do it. You tell people the truth. You got to go to where it's still America. We're going to have 100 states. That'll really shock the world, won't it?
Amen. Amen, buddy. I love the idea.
Judd Dunning, I love the fact you always make time, my California connection. Where is the best place to keep an eye on all things Judd Dunning?
Thank you. Thank you. Rebranding in my office right now. At Judd Dunning, 3 Ds, 2 N's. Just follow me on Twitter. You'll get to my Newsmax column. You get to our shows, and we're blessed. We get to be with people like Shaun like 6-7 times a week across the nation. I'm America's guest, baby.
I love it.
Judd Dunning at Twitter. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, babe. We'll see you soon. You take care of yourself among the crazies, okay?
And you as well. Right. As you as well. Thanks, Shaun.
You too. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
What if everything you've been told about government, healthcare, poverty, energy, and even science is a carefully constructed lie? In Shaun Thompson's new book, What If It's All a Lie? Shaun Thompson dismantles the myths at the core of modern America. This is the book the ruling class doesn't want you to read. And once you do, you won't see the world the same way again. Order your copy today at ShaunThompsonShow.com/book.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible